Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Manu Sharma back here on the 2nd of June 2024. और आज जो मैं वीडियो बना रहा हूँ, I'm actually making it in response to some of the input I've already received. कि भाई आप अपनी कोर्सेज का, बुक्स का, उन सब के बारे में तो वीडियो बना रहे हो, तो कुछ और भी, कुछ डिफरेंट अपने बारे में, something that you do or something that you encourage others to do, जिसके बारे में आपका अपना पर्सनल पर्सपेक्टिव हो, तो प्लीज आप उसको भी शेयर करें. So I thought what I'll do is I will make a video about something that I am actively doing right now. This is something that I started doing during COVID. और इसके पीछे भी एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी है. कोविड जब आया तो माय पेरेंट्स लिव विद मी एंड माय डैड इज अ रिटायर्ड प्रोफेसर. सो मुझे लगा कि अब कोविड में उनकी जो सोशल मोबिलिटी है वो बहुत कम हो गई है. सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग बढ़ गई थी और हम कनाडा में रहते हैं. ही इज अ पार्ट ऑफ a senior group here, but I felt like as the son who was conscious of his mental health, मुझे कुछ करना चाहिए. So basically what I did was I started to think about कि भाई एक रिटायर्ड प्रोफेसर के लिए क्या इंटरेस्टिंग होगा. सो माय डैड्स एरिया ऑफ इंटरेस्ट इज लिंग्विस्टिक्स, एंशिएंट इंडियन लैंग्वेजेस. वो संस्कृत, पाली एंड प्राकृत के एक्सपर्ट हैं. तो मुझे लगा कि उनकी एक हॉबी शुरू करवाता हूँ. सो लॉन्ग स्टोरी शॉर्ट, स्टैम्प्स और कॉइन्स मैंने कलेक्ट करने शुरू किए. उस टाइम पे काफ़ी लोग अपने स्टैम्प्स और कॉइन्स निकाल भी रहे थे. और मेरा principal interest in the beginning was around Canadian, because I wanted to use it as an opportunity to start building a little bit of a conversation at our home. जब आप इकट्ठे बैठते हो तो कुछ बात करना चाहते हो, तो इंडिया के बारे में तो काफ़ी बात होती है, इंडिया की पॉलिटिक्स के बारे में काफ़ी बात होती है, पर कोविड के टाइम पे वो सब कुछ काफ़ी कम हो गया था. तो मेरे को लगा कि अगर हम कॉइन्स इकट्ठे करेंगे तो then collecting coins and stamps would actually keep the family busy. So लॉन्ग स्टोरी शॉर्ट, उन्होंने तो उतना उसको पिक नहीं किया, बट एज आई गॉट इनटू इट मोर एंड मोर, आई स्टार्टेड पिकिंग इट अप. सो आज जो वीडियो मैं बना रहा हूँ वो मैं आपके साथ में अपना पर्सपेक्टिव, पिछले 2.5 साल का पर्सपेक्टिव शेयर करने के लिए बना रहा हूँ, क्योंकि इट ओपन माय आईज टू समथिंग दैट आई वाज नॉट अवेयर ऑफ बिफोर, द वर्ल्ड ऑफ कलेक्टिबल्स. अब दिस इज नॉट टू encourage you to jump into it, but more so for me to share my perspective, ताकि आपको भी. मेरे लिए एक यूनिक बात थी, मुझे कभी किसी ने बिठा के इतना समझाया नहीं था. हमारी कम्युनिटी में इट्स नॉट दैट पॉपुलर एक्चुअली एज एन इन्वेस्टमेंट strategy, not even heard of with most people. So I've taken the time to look at it. I feel like not only the returns decent, but it is also a very rich hobby. It's also something like you rarely in a hobby get to do something जहाँ पे मजा भी आए, आपका इंटरेस्ट भी बंधा रहे, and in the process you're also creating an asset class, और एक इन्वेस्टमेंट बना रहे हैं आप अपने लिए और अपनी फ्यूचर जनरेशंस के लिए. So what started out as a strategy to cope with social distancing and social isolation in COVID has now become something that I regularly spend time on. And today I wanted to give everybody a perspective on it. So here we go. Today I'll talk about investments in bullion and precious metals, but principally from a point of view of collectibles. So I'll build the background on it, कि होता क्या है, so that you can start getting a sense of, in general, why should there be a strategy to invest in bullion. Bullion is precious metal. So हमारे culture में we already buy gold. I was reminded the other day कि जब दिवाली आती थी तो a piece of gold was encouraged to be bought. And I guess जो हमारे पुरखे थे, folks that we followed into this world, they were maybe a little bit ahead of some of the most bright investment professionals right now, because now when I think about it, they were actually encouraging us to diversify our investments. Do not just be invested in your own business, do not be invested in the stocks, do not be invested just in real estate. Try to diversify and be invested in a multiplicity of things, precious metal included. So with that, I'll jump into the video, walk you through the slides. So I'll bring up the slides to take on the full screen, because जो concept है उसके बीच में details काफी हैं, and I don't think it's worth using some of that space with just my picture talking into the camera. And after that, I'll come back and I'll wrap up. And as always, I encourage any questions. Channel ko please subscribe करें. Like I've always said, these are my humble first days. बट द आइडिया वाज कि जो मैं अपनी ट्रेनिंग, अपनी कोचिंग और अपनी मेंटरिंग में कर रहा था, जिसका मुझे बहुत अच्छा फीडबैक मिल रहा था, especially with my commitment to developing the next generation of leadership, I've brought it to video so that I can put it out to a lot more people. And again, the hybrid English and subcontinent languages मैं इसलिए बना रहा हूँ हर एक वीडियो को, ताकि everybody can come along. Even people who may not be as comfortable in English, they can come along and they can benefit from one of them who's had maybe a few more life experiences than them. So with that, I'll jump into the video, and from there, we'll slowly make our way through this. It's not a very long video, but to the extent possible, I'll try my best to cover everything. So introduction to मैंने दे दी है, but still, just to remind everybody, especially those people who may be jumping in for the first time, I'm based here in Ottawa, Canada, and एक charity के लिए काम करता हूँ अब, but 20 plus years of working in entrepreneurship. Before I started working in the philanthropic sector, I had only worked for myself. I ran a significant technology company, and that's where things have been for the last 7 years, जहाँ पे मैं अब philanthropic sector में काम करता हूँ. But the interest in business design, business strategy, and business development continues. And अगर किसी को भी कभी कोई question हो तो please let me know. But please subscribe करें channel को और notifications दबाना ना भूलें. So as I mentioned, in this video, we'll explore why investing in precious metals is a smart choice, and especially focus on why collectibles might offer unique advantages over traditional bullion bars and coins. So जब आप प्रेशियस मेटल के बारे में सोचते हैं, तो टिपिकली आपके दिमाग में एज एन एग्जांपल सोने के बिस्किट या सोने का गहना आता है. सो इट्स टिपिकली बार्स, कॉइन्स एंड ज्वेलरी, but there's much more to it, and we want to make sure that we understand the differences so that we can actually make our way through. We can have the right decisions. Yeah, so make our way through what's available, what's possible. So let's start with a quick overview. Precious metals like gold, silver, platinum, and palladium have been valued for centuries. We know that. But why should you consider them for your investment portfolio? So uske liye, the most important thing is आपको इस चीज की समझ आनी बहुत जरूरी है. The whole concept of hedge. And what does hedge mean? It just means that you're guaranteeing yourself against something specific in terms of the cyclical movement. मतलब जो changes आ रही हैं, आप उनके against अपने आप को protect करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. And when we say hedge against inflation, basically what we are saying is कि the precious metals often maintain their value even as the fiat currencies, जो हमारी regular currency lose purchasing power due to inflation. So अभी आजकल, for example, in Canada, one of the biggest issues is that inflation is relatively high, which is the reason why interest rates have been pulled up by the central bank, because it's trying to discourage people from borrowing so that the actual rate of the inflation rate goes down. क्योंकि जितने कम लोगों के पास में पैसे होंगे to spend, उतना कम market में पैसा आएगा, and then the demand for the product will drop, and in the process जो manufacturers हैं, people involved in the whole supply chain and ecosystem would have to bring the price, so inflation कम होगी. So precious metals, by virtue of maintaining their value, जब regular currency गिर भी जाती है, so as an example again, rupee would have its struggles in the market with inflation and with the conversion rate, but gold key value year on year remains stable. And in fact, whatever you lose in the rupee falling in its purchasing value, purchasing power, you continue to maintain that in gold. Yeah. Second is the store of value. Store of value basically means that they provide a tangible asset that holds intrinsic value, unlike paper money. So एक उसकी अपनी खुद की value है. Portfolio diversification, so including precious metals, can reduce overall portfolio risk as their value tends to move independent of stock and bonds. So this is a very important thing क्योंकि एक तो ये hedge against inflation है, दूसरा this is not pegged to stocks and bonds. So अगर आपको डर है कि स्टॉक मार्केट कहाँ जाएगी, so typically precious metals offer you that peace of mind जो जो sometimes with a full exposure to the market आपको नहीं मिलती. And finally, crisis commodity. ये देखा गया है in general कि जब भी geopolitical या economic turmoil होगी तो precious metals often not even staying stable, they often see a surge in demand as safe havens for assets. So, in general, then one can make a case that precious metals के जो advantages हैं in being a part of your portfolio, most of those advantages are in their ability to maintain or even grow in value when some events happen which have not been anticipated. So आप अगर completely आपका complete exposure financial markets को है, तो having some precious metal investments helps a lot. So what are the different forms of precious metal investments? So अभी वैसे तो काफी ज्यादा हैं, but for the purpose of this we'll only look at 3: bars and ingots, commercial coins, and collectibles. And I will walk you through them one at a time so that you have a better understanding of what it is that each one of them represents. So bars and ingots. इसमें ये जो typical जो हम कई बार हिंदी movies में भी देखते थे, this is जहाँ पे अजीत gold के बिस्किट दुबई से लेके आता था. These are things that you can also buy in the commercial market. They come in various sizes from grams to kilograms. Spot price के बहुत close होते हैं. So whatever is the price at which the commodity, the precious metal is transacting, the price of the bars and ingots would be close to it. Easy to store and trade, high liquidity. So easy to store and trade may they do take some space though. So unlike especially in the world where we are so used to electronic money management, अगर आपके पास में गोल्ड है और आपके पास में बैंक में सेफ नहीं है या फिर बैंक में आपके पास में लॉकर नहीं है, तो then you're gonna have to find a way to store them. And after a certain point of time, it starts becoming a challenge. And finally, liquidity, meaning that there's always demand for them in market. So if you have to take them out, considering that you would have bought it close to spot price, तो जब आपके बेचने का टाइम आएगा तो आप फिर spot price के आसपास बेच सकते हैं. And again, like I said, the general trend is कि spot price tends to increase over a period of time, and it's not cyclically challenged often, even if the rest of the market is not functioning. So उस case में you can easily get out of that commitment. So that's a very popular form of precious metal investment. So next are commercial coins. So commercial coins are typically issued by government mints. So they're not fiat currency necessarily in the sense that आप उनको अपनी डे टू डे ट्रांजेक्शन्स के लिए नहीं यूज कर सकते हैं, पर उसकी फिर वैल्यू नहीं है. आप एक प्रेशियस, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर आप एक सिल्वर डॉलर खरीदते हैं जो कनेडियन मिंट ने बनाया, जिसकी वो नॉमिनल वैल्यू कह देते हैं $10 हैं, तो आप उसको $10 के लिए अगर कहीं यूज करेंगे तो हो सकता है कि कोई ले ले. Somebody may take that coin, but the thing is then you are really not using it for what it is, and आप किसी को एक सिल्वर का कॉइन दे रहे हैं $10 के लिए. So they are quite widely available. जो mints and the government mints here in Canada, it is the Canadian Mint. They regularly bring these coins out. So their premiums are higher than spot price, as you can expect. They're not as they're not priced as the bars at ingots, but they're slightly more expensive. जो स्टोरेज एंड ट्रेड है वो इनकी भी मोर और लेस सिमिलर है. And जो लिक्विडिटी है, इन माय एक्सपीरियंस आई फाइंड द लिक्विडिटी इज हायर इन द सेंस कि इनकी थोड़ी डिमांड ज्यादा है. बार्स तो सब जगह मिल जाते हैं, इंगेट्स तो सब जगह मिल जाते हैं, बट इनकी एक अट्रैक्टिवनेस है इन द सेंस कि this is coming from the Canadian Mint, or this is coming from United States. South Africa produces a lot of these. Australia produces a lot of these. Some Caribbean countries produce. Actually, most of the countries produce them, including India. इंडिया की एक सीरीज आई थी अभी पीछे जिसमें मैंने दरबार साहब का कॉइन खरीदा, और गुरु नानक देव जी का कॉइन था, गुरु गोबिंद सिंह जी का कॉइन था. So I keep a lookout for the ones that I really find attractive. उनकी एक personal attraction भी है मेरे लिए. So and I like to buy them when they're around, because one thing for them is इनकी एक mintage होती है. So they are only minted for a certain number, or once they run out of those, the mints run out of those, then they're not going to produce them again. So एक जो बार एंड इंगेट्स के ऊपर एक एडवांटेज है कि इसमें एक वो एलिमेंट ऑफ ओनरशिप है जो जिसमें थोड़ी एक्सक्लूसिविटी है. एंड क्वालिटी इंश्योरेंस, सो दे आर नोन फॉर द प्योरिटी एंड क्वालिटी. Also, there are security features built in to avoid counterfeiting. So थोड़ी peace of mind है उसके लिए, and that peace of mind for people for whom it matters, it's a big thing. Yeah. So finally, आगे collectibles, which is the one that I want to really bring to your notice. And collectibles में क्या होता है कि collectibles are actually fiat currency. So these would be mostly coins that are rare and commemorative. So often in limited editions available, because a lot of them would have been melted for their precious metal. जब आप इनको खरीदते हैं तो you do pay a good premium, but typically, they continue to appreciate in value over and beyond what just the appreciation for precious metal is. Why? Because इनकी rarity है. Like I said, इनके higher premiums हैं when you're buying them, but इनकी appreciation भी ज़्यादा है because they are relatively rare and उनकी collectible value है. So storage and trade वही similar है, but in their case you do require special handling for protection because often they come with age. So आपको थोड़ा ध्यान रखना पड़ता है. One thing that you have to be very particular about is you don't clean them. So आप especially कोई synthetic material लेके उनको साफ नहीं करते. I know when you get a coin and it looks dirty, your first reaction always is to clean it. But in this case, and for that, you would sometimes use something that you can chemically use without damaging the metal itself. But the point is, ये इनकी जो high premium है, that comes with the rarity, and it often comes with the coin being maintained in its original shape. So आपको उसको original shape में maintain करना पड़ता है. So इसकी historical and aesthetic value है. और the most important thing for me is कि इनके case में जो value है, that is an offer of metal value and collectible appeal. So जो collectible appeal है वो इसको कहीं पे भी लेके जा सकती है. So as opposed to bars and ingots or even specialty coins, in this case the final value of the thing is ultimately decided by the person who's buying it, how much it means to them. Yeah. So उसका मैं आपको एक example दे देता हूँ. I've been on a mission to start a collection of the silver coins, Indian silver coins before they were withdrawn. और बहुत मुश्किल से मिलते हैं उनके बीच में, especially in that case आपको थोड़ा counterfeit का भी देखना पड़ता है, पर बहुत मुश्किल से मिलते हैं. So what I've done is I've limited it to people that have been collecting them. So I'm trying more and more just to buy from people who've been collectors for a long time. So I'm paying a premium for them, but उसकी एक historical appeal है मेरे लिए, और उसकी एक emotional उनके साथ में मेरा एक emotional bond भी है. So I've already started talking a little bit about the advantages of collectible, but let me get a little bit more into it. So I told you already कि उसकी एक dual value है, precious metal content भी है, collectible value भी है, limited circulation and issuance है. Coins with limited mintage are inherently rare. Aesthetic and historical appeal, collectors appreciate the craftsmanship and historical context. So it means a lot to buyers typically. Potential for high returns, rare coins can appreciate significantly. Like that's something that's very attractive for me as an investor. It requires a lot of research. It requires for you to stay on top of things. It requires for you to take an active interest in it, but not any different, in my opinion, than what it would take to research stocks and bonds and equities. In fact, what I have found with my experience, and maybe that's the engineer in me speaking out, I find doing research in this domain, I find it a lot easier than doing the research on the other side, because other side में मेरे को कभी भी मार्केट के सारे डायनामिक्स की अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं होती है, and I find that I'm still speculating quite a lot. I'm still trying to put myself into shoes that I'm not. In this case, I won't say it's black and white. आपको still patterns देखने पड़ते हैं. You have to keep an eye on what has been the historical move on a particular coin or a particular collectible. But still, the data is there, and the sky is the limit in terms of how much you can go into it. But you're not going into something that most of us just do not understand. सो फाइनली इसके बीच में पोर्टफोलियो डाइवर्सिफिकेशन के बारे में मैंने बात कर ली है, पर फाइनली इसके बीच में जो बायर पूल है वो काफी बड़ा है. सो अगर आपके पास में कलेक्टिबल्स हैं, स्पेशली अगर वो रीजनेबली प्राइस्ड हैं, दे आर नॉट वेरी एक्सपेंसिव, देन एनीबडी हु इज इंटरेस्टेड इन प्रेशियस मेटल इवन एट स्पॉट प्राइस विल टेक इट फ्रॉम यू. और अगर उनके बीच में अगर उनमें उनके प्रीमियम में जो आप जिस प्रीमियम पे आप बेच रहे हैं उसके बीच में उसकी कलेक्टिबल वैल्यू है, तो देन इट इज अट्रैक्टिव टू अ वेरी डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ अ बायर. सो ऑन द होल, स्पेशली अगर आपको कुछ मिल रहा है क्लोज टू और नॉट टू एक्सपेंसिव कंपेयर टू स्पॉट प्राइस. सो फॉर एग्जांपल राइट नाउ कनाडा में जो सिल्वर कॉइन्स है वो 1967 में विड्रॉ हो गए थे. So depending upon which you are looking for and what's the quality of a particular coin, आपको कई बार कोई silver coin almost close to spot price मिल जाएगा, especially if you're bidding on it. So अगर आपको एक coin and in that example a silver coin अगर आपको close to spot price in terms of its weight मिल जाता है, then you can really not go wrong with it, because then your purchase when you are trying to get it out of your portfolio would have an appeal across the whole spectrum. Somebody who is just collecting silver as a precious metal would buy it just for the silver content, and because you bought it close to the spot price, तो आपको उसमें कोई नुकसान नहीं होगा, and then you're selling again at spot price, and spot price hopefully would have increased by 10 to 15%. So 10 to 15% का आपका return हो गया. But on the flip side, अगर आपने उसको spot price के close लिया है and it means something to somebody, then you're actually able to sell it at a much higher premium. And in that case, even 150% premium is not, is not rare. So, उस point of view से अगर आप देखें तो एक bigger buyer pool है. I also find not only is it a bigger buyer pool, it's also, in my own opinion, अब आपके पास में अगर एक बार है, let's say आपने एक silver की बार खरीदी है, then you have to find somebody जिसको आप पूरी की पूरी बार इकट्ठे बेच सकते हैं. Like you cannot sell chunks of that bar. You cannot take that silver bar and cut it into pieces and give it out. But instead of buying that silver bar, let's say you invested in 15 coins, then you have a unit that you can sell which is smaller than the whole. And that to me has been a distinct advantage, even though I've not been selling a lot and I've not bought a lot. Like I said, I'm just getting into it. But I know people already who are doing it quite a bit. And I'll show you an example of that later on how they are doing it. And it's actually quite fascinating. So again, I will just quickly summarize before I move to the latter part of it. If you're considering buying bullion, a summary of key points: bar and ingots, lower premiums, easy to store and trade, commercial coins, recognized globally, high liquidity because of the name associated with it, किस mint से आया है, एंड कलेक्टिबल्स के ऊपर मैं थोड़ा और बताऊंगा. सो लेट मी गिव यू a few, like this is just a very small bulleted list which I just wanted to put out there for you to start getting a sense of it. So 1991, which is quite recent, जो Canadian quarter है, it's one of the rarest modern Canadian coins. Low mintage थी, there's not a lot of them out in the market. Quarter है 25 cents है, and it's not rare for people to pay $6 to $10 for it too. I've seen people even paying up to 15 depending upon the quality. So if you really think about it, अगर किसी ने कहीं से किसी तरह से 100 ये कहीं पे रखे हुए थे, तो the 100 coins, at 25 cents a coin, would not have cost them a lot of money. They would have been getting 4 of them for $1. 100 of them would have cost them $25. Yeah, but even if they were selling it for $10, they would have sold it for. They would be selling it for $1,000. So आपको $25 की investment पे, I know it would have been some time, but still $25 की investment पे $1,000. That kind of return is very rare. Now that doesn't happen all the time. Compared to real estate, जहाँ पे आपके returns are more or less assured, depending upon how the market is going, and in Ottawa the market keeps on being a very good market. Still, what we're talking about here is diversification. We're not talking about कि just बाकी सब कुछ छोड़ दो और ये करो. 1921 का 50 cent piece, known as the king of Canadian coins, again a relatively rare coin. 1948 ka silver dollar, one of the rarest and most valuable Canadian silver dollars. The only one that I have had offered to me once was in thousands of dollars. So this is a coin that I still don't have, and I don't know. Abhi, in the recent past, I have seen even many being offered, and I don't think in the near future I would be able to afford one. Same thing with 1933 Double Eagle, American coin, extremely rare, sold at an auction recently for $7.59 million. Again, I'm not suggesting कि कोई भी coin आप खरीदोगे तो वो ऐसा होगा, but what I'm suggesting is कि at least the possibility of that is there. And $7.59 million का coin आपको by luck नहीं मिलेगा, but $1,000 coin you can find in a collection once in a while, because you would have bought a full collection from somebody, and then as you're researching it, you're blown away by the fact कि आपके पास में एक significant asset है. So is it a good time to buy collectible coins? मैंने आपको बताया already अपनी personal journey मैंने आपके साथ में share की है. There's almost never a bad time to invest in precious metals, especially collectible coins. But since COVID, a lot of people have taken their collections out. Why? Inflation के करके भी लोगों को थोड़े पैसे चाहिए थे. So a lot of people have gone, not very different from selling other investments. So इस टाइम पे मार्केट में काफी स्टॉक आया. पिछली थोड़ी देर में तो काफी ज्यादा आया था. तो a lot of people were buying. So gold, silver, platinum, and palladium are always in demand, particularly during the times of inflation and economic uncertainty, which again happens to be the case right now. So combined with COVID and the pressure COVID put, the financial pressure COVID put on people, this side of the market has seen a spurt. So yes, it's a seize the moment kind of a thing. If you have an interest in buying collectible coins, you should definitely be on a lookout. And ये एक slow and steady race है. Like I said, मैं 2.5 साल से देख रहा हूँ. अभी भी कोई मेरा इतना significant portfolio नहीं है क्योंकि ये slow and steady है. But let me give you an example of, I was in Merrickville recently. Last year I was in Almond. So when I go to all these little cities around Ottawa, I am always looking out for a coin. So you never know. आप किसी store में जाते हैं, one of those stores that's popular in the village, and you find a coin there. So just having this in your mind, that this is also something that could be just adds another dimension to what you're looking for as a deal. So how to begin collecting coins? अगर आप collectibles में जाना चाहते हो, research the market, visit, understand the different types of coins and their values. The one input I'll give you, which I wish somebody would have given me, is be very focused. अब ये जो coins हैं, ये सारी दुनिया की हर एक country coins mint करती है, सब countries coins mint कर रही हैं historically. So there's a lot that you can do with coins. But what I would suggest is be focused, like collect with a focus in mind कि मैंने इंडिया के करने हैं, मैंने कॉमनवेल्थ के करने हैं, मैंने कनाडा के करने हैं, मैंने यूएस के करने हैं. Because what that allows you to do is it allows you to have a really good handle of the research in the space. It's impossible to research 200 plus countries for the coins that are important and for the value that different precious metal coins carry. फिर उसके बाद में counterfeiting के it's very difficult to stay on top of all of that, because just when you start getting the gist of what to look for in a coin for a particular domain, for a particular country, now you're starting to do something else. So I wish somebody would have told me and I would have been a lot more focused. शुरू शुरू में मैंने क्या किया, मुझे कुछ भी दिखता था कॉइन में, मुझे अच्छा लगता था, मैं कहता था ले लो यार, जाने नहीं देना. So in the process I did collect some different countries, but then very quickly I started running out of steam in terms of keeping on top of that research. So that's one thing that I'll definitely say. Visit local coin merchants and online marketplaces. But the most important thing is look for reputable sellers. So इसमें जो मैं मेन बात कहूँगा, एक डाइकॉटमी है. लोकल कॉइन मर्चेंट्स के पास में काउंटरफिटिंग और स्कैम के चांसेस कम है, but the thing is their prices are typically very high. They also know that they are feeding into a demand that a lot of people locally are not feeding into. So one can imagine their interest is in getting as much of a premium as possible. Online marketplaces पे आपको थोड़ा कम मिल जाएंगे, पर वहाँ पे what you have to really do is you have to make sure that you are an expert, which is the next point. Study coin values, denominations, and rarity. Keep an understanding of कौन से scams चल रहे हैं, क्या counterfeiting चल रही है, क्या हो रहा है. And the other way to do it is to keep up with trade magazines and trends. जहां पे मैंने एक चीज नोटिस की है कि जो इसके पीछे जो कम्युनिटी है, जो even the hobbyist community, not the dealer community alone, but the dealer community also in this space, they are very helpful. वो बहुत strong community है, they're very helpful. So for example, if you go and check a coin with somebody who is a lifelong hobbyist, who's been collecting, who's a collector, जब आप उनके साथ में मिलते हैं तो उनको थोड़े क्वेश्चंस पूछते हैं, if you take the time to engage with them and understand them, I find them to be very helpful. I find them to take a lot of interest in you, and it's been superb for me. So that's something that I would also encourage. Become a part of your local community. Get into those conversations. So हमारे यहाँ Ottawa में Richmond Road पे they come together once every month at the Legion. सो यहाँ पे जो लोकल लीजन का ऑफिस है या जो कम्युनिटी स्पेस है उसमें वो इकट्ठे होते हैं. एंड व्हाट आई फाउंड इज इवन इफ आई डोंट बाय एनीथिंग एंड इफ आई जस्ट वॉक थ्रू एंड टॉक टू अ फ्यू ऑफ देम, आई फाइंड दैट टू बी वेरी पावरफुल. सो that's something that I would definitely encourage, that if you get into this space, just take an interest in other people who are doing it, and then you can go from there. So we are almost coming to an end. How is the value of a collectible coin determined? The value is determined by its bullion value and its numismatic value. So bullion value is the metal content multiplied by the spot price. Spot price is the price at which globally the metal is transacting, and numismatic value is based on rarity and sentiment. So collectibles, as opposed to commercial coins, as opposed to bars and ingots, it's the numismatic value, which is the value that comes to the coin because of its rarity and sentiment that differentiates it. और उसके बाद में there are elements of the condition of the coin. Uncirculated coins draw higher interest and value. So इसके बीच में जब आप इसमें domain में आ जाएंगे तो you'll start getting a handle of like different types of coins and different conditions have a different value associated with them. Also, there's this whole thing of there's a standardization that comes from coins actually being ascertained for their condition and for their rarity, also for their genuineness कि कोई counterfeit नहीं है. उसके लिए there are a couple of agencies that you can send a coin to, especially if you feel strongly about a coin. और वो agency उस coin को analyze करके उसको एक foil में डाल देगी, and typically that foil nobody can interfere with it without somebody realizing it's been opened. और उन coins की value often थोड़ी ज़्यादा होती है because they have a lot more trust. So between the numismatic value and the condition of the coin, that's what typically decides the coin. So like I have already said, the tangible asset that hedges against inflation, but uski value और ज़्यादा है. It adds diversity to your portfolio, and it's also a fun thing to do. So that's something that I do want to highlight quite prominently. The fun part of it. I have been having a lot of fun. I've been meeting a lot of people. हर एक कॉइन के पीछे एक हिस्ट्री है, हर एक कॉइन के पीछे एक बहुत डीप नैरेटिव है, and it's fun. Like मेरी अपनी understanding of the world around me, especially in terms of the history of the Commonwealth, the history of Canada, the history of India, बड़ी है पिछले टाइम में, पिछले 2.5-3 साल में, because I've had to take the time when I get a coin, when I buy a coin, or I'm researching a coin, or I'm looking at a coin, or if I have to even sell a coin, I have to take the time to really understand उसकी value क्या है. So in that context, the historical narrative becomes important. So with that, I wanted to take the time to walk you through. Let me see if it would run here. I thought, oh, it won't run here. So what I am going to do is I am going to add my slide deck, जिसमें मुझे पता है कि वो run करेगा. So if you give me a second, because I just realized कि जब मैंने इसको यहाँ पे add किया है as a PDF, then because I really want to show you an example of something that I have done, and वो example अब मैं आपको कैसे दिखाऊं, वो example I was not expecting to run into this challenge here. So give me 1 second. I'm going to find the video file and I will make sure that I bring it up to you. So apologies for that. I know it is give you some visual sense of कि जो मैं ये बात कर रहा हूँ कि अगर आपने precious metal या bullion में invest करना है तो आपके पास में collectibles की option भी है. Just to give you a sense of that, I thought I'll show you this book that I've just recently assembled. इसके बीच में Canadian silver dollars, silver 50 cents और silver quarters हैं, all the way up till 1967. So there's a total of 60 coins in it. ये डॉलर कॉइन्स हैं बाय ईयर. कुछ एक के ऊपर, you know, this has been decided by the person, of course, who packaged it. This is not a professional opinion. उन्होंने उसके ऊपर उसका you know, just whatever they felt was the shape that they are in, उन्होंने उसके ऊपर कैप्चर किया हुआ. But these are all dollar coins. Now to give you a sense of कि इनकी appreciation क्या हुई है 1964 में, ये जो एक कॉइन है यहाँ पे, ये $1 की इसकी वैल्यू थी ऑन द ग्राउंड इन द मार्केट, और अब ये दिस इज एनीवेयर बिटवीन $22 to $30 डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द शेप इट इज, एंड इट कैन इवन गो पास्ट दैट. सो दिस मीन, सो अगर किसी ने 1964 में they kept it and it's in fairly good shape, so they've seen at least a 22x, 22 times the appreciation on this. Yeah. And so similarly, ये सब dollars हैं. 1967 was the last year before the Canadian government moved away from silver currency. ये 50 cents के coins हैं, और you know, इनकी favor में काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें, जैसे मैंने वीडियो में बोला, इनकी appreciation definitely for the silver content तो है ही है, पर इनकी collectible value भी है, जिसमें again इनकी mintage और वो सारी considerations आ जाती हैं. But you know, when I came to Canada, nobody really explained it to me कि ये भी एक option है, possible है, and it's only through experimentation and trying that I stumbled on it. So I just wanted to make sure कि I'm giving you a visual sense of what it looks like. And कोई भी question है तो please पूछें. I've been doing this for a couple of years now. I wouldn't call myself an expert, but at least मुझे थोड़ी सी अंडरस्टैंडिंग है आप इसकी. So again, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब जरूर करें, और अगर नोटिफिकेशंस ऑन करनी है तो वो भी प्लीज़, like if you want the videos to come to you the moment they are pushed to YouTube, please notification be on करें, and I will see you again soon. So that was an example of, like I said, I just wanted to show you a visual of what it could look like. And with that, I'm going to move to the conclusion. So again, the idea of the video is not to convince you to do something a certain way. The idea of the video is just for you to have a sense of something else that's possible. Especially, I feel like if I was not where I am in my life with the access to technology that I have, in the society that I am, in the community that I am, where people from all over the world, uh, are here in Ottawa. It's 100 plus countries here. They all bring their own traditions, their own history, their own collectibles here. So this is a very rich place to have an interest like this. But uh, उसका जो इन्वेस्टमेंट पोटेंशियल है वो मुझे कभी किसी ने समझाया नहीं था. सो माय होप इज दैट आई वुड हैव टेकन द टाइम टू हेल्प यू मेक सेंस ऑफ दैट टुडे. Do make informed decisions that align with your financial goals. I again will say it out loud. This should be a part of your diversification strategy. This should not be your strategy alone. And this is again one of those things that you only invest in uh, for the interest that you want to pursue for the sake of hedging against inflation and economic uncertainties, and most importantly only if you are prepared to put in the time to really understand it. अगर आप उसमें अपनी रिसर्च में और उसके अंडरस्टैंडिंग में अपना टाइम नहीं डालना चाहते तो then I would say this is not for you. So on this last slide here, I have actually put a comparison grid. जो मैंने अभी तक सारी बातें डिस्कस की हैं, अवेलेबिलिटी, कॉस्ट इफेक्टिवनेस, स्टोरेज, ट्रेड ऑफ ईज, लिक्विडिटी ईज, क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस, सिक्योरिटी फीचर्स, सोर्सेज ऑफ पोटेंशियल परचेज एंड जनरल प्रोफाइल ऑफ फ्यूचर बायर. तो आप इसमें मैंने सोर्सेज ऑफ पोटेंशियल परचेज एंड जनरल प्रोफाइल ऑफ फ्यूचर बायर दो चीज़ें और ऐड की हैं. सो आप डेफिनेटली आई वुड से you should look at this from that perspective of what it can do for you. मेरी hope as always ये है कि I would have triggered some interest. I would have addressed जैसे मुझे हमेशा थोड़ी सी कभी भी कोई चीज़ मिल जाती थी तो फिर मुझे उसकी थोड़ी सी डिस्कम्फर्ट भी रहती है. वो कहते हैं ना एक प्रोडक्ट जैसी रह जाती है कि यार इसको थोड़ा और ज़्यादा समझना है. Why did nobody take their experience and make something visual and walk me through it? So मैंने तो 3 साल लगा दिए हैं. So hopefully आपको 3 साल नहीं लगाने पड़ेंगे to get that kind of understanding that I wish I had. Or again, while I could find a lot of material explaining a lot of things in English, French, Spanish, I couldn't find too much in Hindi, Urdu, Punjabi, especially with that perspective of somebody who's a first generation immigrant coming from the subcontinent, and I wanted to address that. But I hope that this has value for people beyond just people coming from the subcontinent. And with that, I take your leave. I'll continue to bring in these videos as a combination of life in Canada, my commitment to business management and leadership, and also things that are gems in Ottawa, things very specific to Ottawa, because this is my home, this is my city, this is where I live. मेरा इंडिया के साथ में और कनाडा के साथ में दोनों के साथ में बहुत deep प्यार है. And I'll continue to build videos that are a reflection of my interests and my love for both the countries. So with that, I take your leave, and hopefully you'll be able to join me in the next video. Till then,